All right, so we'll go ahead and like I always like to start my yoga practices off as I sweat all over my countertops. We'll start off in Tadasana, standing mountain pose on your mat. I'm gonna hit play and hope that this sounds okay. All right, you guys. So go ahead and find that comfortable standing position. A minute ago, I had this rigged up a little bit better than I had it just now. So standing mountain pose, your feet are spread out like your hands would be if your hands were on the floor. Not crooked. And your hands are wide open towards the front of you. And we're just gonna stand and just kind of exist for a moment. Feet are gonna be pressing into the floor, finding full attachment to the ground underneath your feet. Hands are open wide, shoulders are rolled back. Our hips are neutral, so we're not caving forward and we're not arching our back, allowing our hips to curve back. We're just neutral. So I remember my yoga mentor, when she teaches that particular stance, she talks about how you're not the old man here, and you're not the prepubescent teenage girl either. So you gotta be neutral. I thought I can see that. I can see my hips doing those two things. So let's just take a few deep cleansing breaths, inhaling all the good and all the light around us, and exhaling all the negative, all the trash, all the toxic waste that we find around us, especially in the world, just all the negativity. And obviously we're not really breathing or exhaling these things in and out, but that's just mentally what we want to think about right now. So just finding our center, slowing that breath down. If you are a mile a minute kind of thinker, it helps sometimes when I count. Inhale for 5 and exhale for 7. It gives me something to be conscious of. Let's take a moment to set our intention for today. Whatever it is that we want to receive from this practice, personally, emotionally, spiritually. Maybe it's just to reconnect with our body. Maybe we find ourselves so busy, even while we're in limited access to the outside world, we still find ourselves keeping busy. And sometimes busy is not good. Sometimes it's a great thing. Sometimes it's just a distraction from what we really need to do. So sometimes it's okay to just stop and feel and breathe and think. And lastly, let's go ahead and let go of any judgment of ourselves or of others. Setting our resolve to be personal today. We're not going to compare ourselves to what we see on Instagram, either in yoga or in life. We're not going to compare ourselves to what we could do 3 months ago or what we looked like 3 months ago. We're not going to think about those things. We're going to think about where we are right now and the fact that we're here today and we're giving ourselves this time. So let's take one more deep breath here in Tadasana. And this time we're going to take a breath in as we inhale with both hands coming up all the way overhead, extended mountain pose, fingertips coming to touch each other, arching our back into baby back bend, and then release back into standing mountain pose. One more time, inhaling all the way up. And then release. All right, we're going to take that right hand up. I love this lateral stretch. I always do this when I first wake up as well as in my yoga practices. Sinking the right foot down into the floor and extending the right hand up towards the ceiling. Good, extending it all the way up the left side. Pressing that left foot down. Lifting the left hand, creating space between the side body into the ribs. And then both hands this time, taking a deep breath in. And exhale as go ahead and swan dive all the way down to a forward fold. And we're gonna go into a little flow here. We're gonna come up to a half lift. We've done this before, but we do it usually later. I wanna do it now, so we're gonna wake up the hamstrings. We're gonna bend the knees quite a bit and come into our our chair pose, or you can bring your hands into prayer pose at heart center. Then deep breath in, reverse swan dive all the way up. Exhale, swan dive back down to the floor. Let's find a little flow here at your own pace. Inhaling into that half lift. Exhaling into that chair pose. Inhaling as we come up, extended mountain. Exhale back down into that forward fold. Go ahead and do one or two more of those just to get that body a little bit more fluid with the breath. Beautiful. And once you've done another full round, go ahead and just meet us back down into that forward fold. So forward fold has gradually over the years become what I thought was such a basic, almost just boring pose to one of my favorites. And so there's just so many benefits for being inverted, but we're not doing a full inversion like a headstand or anything like that. So I love the way that this pose makes me feel. We're going to take the crown of our head, point it down towards the floor, chin towards your chest. So we are in Vishuddha Bandha here. It is a throat lock, so we're actually locking in the chin to the chest. Arms are falling heavy. If your hands touch the floor, maybe you want a little extra weight by holding the elbows with each hand. A nice tiny bend in your knees, so we're not locked out here. I don't want you guys rolling over. Small bend, long spine. The vertebrae is separating one by one as gravity is being reversed. All right, guys, if you've got your arms folded, so your hands are in your elbows in your hands, go ahead and just kind of do a little bit of a figure 8 here with your elbows. Notice the way that feels in the back body. Notice how it's kind of activating some of the mid-back, some of the shoulder blades, that scapular area, and giving your spine a little wake-up call. And then when we're finished with that, we're going to bring the hands back down. Take a deep breath in, once again coming up with half lift, and then bringing the heels of the hand just underneath your knees and pressing up into a flat back for monkey. So here I find all of my weight in my heels, but my legs are still not locked out, right? So there's still a bend here, but the back is completely flat. That feels so good. Can you guys hear my music? Sort of, a little bit. This song by Pink, it makes me cry. Like, I love it so much. I love it when she shows her softer side. All right, take it on down to forward fold. I don't know if that helps if I turn it up a little bit, but I love it. All right, girls. Okay. So let's go ahead and walk our hands out to the top of our mat. Spread those fingers out and step back into our downward dog. Pressing those heels into the floor. One at a time. Let's just walk it out. See if you can drop the chest a little further towards the toes. So once we're here, let's do our checkpoints. Is our head dropping even with the biceps or lower? Hopefully. Tailbone is curled upward. Heels are pressing down. And our chest is actually pulling towards the toes. So if you want to know the difference between a downward dog with the tailbone pointed up and the tailbone pointed down, if you'll roll your tailbone under, like you're tucking your tail between your legs, you kind of see a rounding of the back. And then when you curl it up, notice what it does to your hamstrings. So it's almost as if the highest point of your whole body is that tailbone. Like the tip of your tailbone. All right, let's activate our obliques a little bit. Taking the hands, reaching through towards the opposite ankle. If you can't reach the ankle, that's okay. Just tap the floor wherever Oh, baby. I forgot about this bad boy. So we're going to do it today. It's going to be amazing.
Want a break from the ads?
I do want a break from the ads.
Watch a short
All right, so once you restore balance in the body, make sure you get both on each side evenly. We're going to come down into those all fours.
Yes, really. If you tap now,
Hands underneath the shoulders.
30 minutes of ad-free.
I also forget that now I have this Apple Watch and I can control the volume with my watch. I always forget. Oh, yeah, nice. All right. So hands are down underneath those shoulders. Knees are underneath the hips. We're going to round that tailbone upward towards the ceiling. Big, full, open throat here. And then curl that tailbone under, rounding the back towards the ceiling, locking that chin in. So while you do this a few times, slowly inhaling on your cow and exhaling on your cat, this time I want you to concentrate on the throat. Concentrate on the neck. Vishuddha here, locking the throat, which means you're tucking your chin to your chest, and it's opening up the throat here. In times such as these, our voice is extremely important, both in what we say and what we don't say. So it's important to know that your body holds on to the stress of things left unsaid, and it also holds on to the drama of when we say too much. Like I tend to kind of say too much sometimes. So we want to make sure we identify that throat and where it holds our voice. Rounding and curving. And then coming back into neutral once you've done both directions evenly. Wagging that tail a couple of times from left to right. Bringing the elbow back towards that hip a little bit. I mean, how many commercials are there on Spotify? This is insane. And I have premium. I don't know what's happening. All right. And then, of course, Caroline's favorite, our barrel rolls. So rounding and rolling the shoulders opposite direction from the hips. Really loosen this. Really just kind of let go of any inhibitions you have in your back. That lumbar especially needs all these curves because it protects those vulnerable discs down there at the base of our spine. It's where our spine is the thickest, and yet we're the most vulnerable there. It's crazy. All right. So back down into our neutral spine. We're going to go into a lateral balance today. We don't do this one often because sometimes it seems to me like it's not super effective, but it is super great for activating that core at the beginning of a practice. So spreading our fingers out, extending one leg, seeing if you can make it even with your hips, and make sure that you don't sink into one side. So everything is squared up. Hips are squared, and opposite hand extends out if you can. And then switching. You can always keep one limb down on the floor or touching the floor if you need a little help, a little balance help. And then when we come out again, this time, see if you can take that leg and arm out to the side this time. I've got a bench here, so I really can't do it. And then bringing it back in, kind of like you're opening up a gate. And let's just do one more on each side. Noticing and embracing the activation of that glute. Don't let the belly sag here. Don't let the hip drop. And release back into that all four position. All right, next we're going to take those hands back to the corners of our mats. You can drop into child's pose here if you need a little break. Otherwise, we're back into downward facing dog. We're going to sweep forward into our plank pose or on the knees, kneeling plank. Dropping down into our chaturanga, halfway down, 90-degree angle with the elbows. Coming up to upward facing dog or half cobra, squeezing the glutes here. Bending the knees, pressing back into downward dog. We're going to take that right leg, sweep it up and back towards the ceiling. Bring it all the way to those hands. Kneeling crescent lunge, bringing the arms all the way up, opening that heart center towards the sky, and then adding a little twist. So we're opening up the body towards the side, towards the front leg side, and then bringing it back down to downward facing dog. Sweeping forward to plank, chaturanga, or kneeling plank to crocodile, all the way up to upward dog, keeping the hips and legs off the floor, toes curl under, down dog. The opposite leg this time sweeps up, brings all the way to the front, kneeling crescent lunge. Woo, my hips, open it up to that side body, side twist. Bringing it back in and back down. Let's do that again, coming back to our downward facing dog. This time, I want you to challenge yourself. If you're up for it, I want to see you do a three-legged plank to chaturanga. So, three-legged, one-legged. So we're going to come all the way up, keeping that foot up and come forward. Plank to crocodile to an upward facing dog. Both legs drop and then push back. How'd you do? Come all the way back. Right leg this time. It's going to come all the way up to the front. Kneeling crescent lunge here. If you're ready to go in for that balance, push the toes into the floor. Come into a full lunge. Twisting as well. Breathing on the twist. And bringing it back in. Oh, you baby. All right, take it back to downward facing dog. We got one more round of that. So lifting up that leg, staying in that position if you want to challenge yourself to this, well, it's 3-point. That's where I was coming from. 3-leg, 3-point. Coming to that plank, dropping into crocodile, pushing up to upward dog. This looks hard for me. Oh, let's go weak side. And then press back to down dog. Same leg, sweeps back and forward. Kneeling or balancing crescent lunge. And one final twist. And we're getting warm, yeah? All right, bringing it back in. And sweep down. Let's push back to that downward facing dog. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Drop into child's pose if you want to catch your breath a little quicker. Oh, hello. All right. All right, we're going to go ahead and slowly come down to our knees. And then push back into our child's pose briefly. Oh, that's good. Good job.
Now what do we do?
We're going to take a deep breath in. And deep breath out. Are you ready? All right, come up onto the hands, guys. Spreading out those fingers. This is cross Barker, everyone. Live and in person. All right. Big booty in my face. All right, so we're in that downward facing dog now. And we're going to take that right leg, sweep it all the way up and back, rotate that ankle, bend your knee, get some good rotation done, and then bring that right foot all the way forward to your hands. Plant the back foot, come up all the way to warrior one. So, very good. Warrior one, both hips, remember what we've talked about. Our parking lights match our headlights. Oh, you're doing great. Bend that front knee. Bend your front knee. Look at mommy's knee. Okay. All right, so taking some deep breaths here. So a lot of warrior pose, right? Because it's so solid. It's so. Do you hear Daddy? Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. All right, so for warrior one today, we're going to go into a little flow to warrior three here. So we're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to push off that back foot and reach out to warrior three. Arms are extended, or you can bring them in. I know I'm cutting myself off the camera here. You can bring them in, and then we're going to come back into warrior one, sinking down, and then bringing it back in. Allowing that body to flow between what feels like stability and power and strength in the warrior one, and balance and being able to accommodate and flow and move into that warrior three. So two totally different mental poses here. So go ahead and get about 4 or 5 of those. And then meet us back in warrior one. And then once you've done about 4 or 5 of those, we'll open up to warrior 2, shifting the hips wide towards the flat position, looking over that front shoulder if you can, and really sinking into that front leg. I want you to think about if we were all posing in a group photo, having someone sitting or standing on this front leg. Is it stable enough? Could she sit down without falling off? Hopefully, yes. Pull your shoulder blades back, lift that chest, sweep to the front hand, and then come back to reverse warrior. Opening up the ribs, extending through the side body, lengthening if you need a little help, lengthening through the arm. Don't forget about that right leg. It's still working. It's still stable. In fact, it's so stable that we add to it by activating Mula Bandha. So root lock, lifting up and tightening that pelvic floor. And back to warrior 2. Oh, yeah, baby. All right, so go ahead and straighten out that front leg. Hinging to triangle pose, one of my favorites. Stability on that shin or on a block. My block is too far away from me right now. I really love my block. Opening up that upper arm. If you want, you can place the top of your hand into your calf and really press out and open. Taking a deep breath in, and as you exhale, see if you can sink a little deeper. Every time. Easing your body into that stretch that you know it's capable of doing. Even if you're modifying it, noticing how your body feels in that inner thigh. Breathing through that stretch. I love the triangle pose. Taking that hand that's at the top. We're going to rotate down. It's staying in triangle legs. Hand can come outside of your mat if you need more stability. And we're going to open up to reverse triangle. So it's really difficult to hold that right shoulder back. That's where the breathing comes in. You can walk your hand closer to your foot. Do it. Woo! And then bring that hand down. We're going to walk the hands towards the center of the body into a standing straddle split, and now we're going to stand a straddle forward fold. So dropping the shoulders and elbows down towards the floor. If you notice that your hamstrings and inner thighs are really tight, maybe don't go all the way down. Maybe drop your elbows like so, or even press your hands into the bottom of your kneecap, like underneath your knee. Slight bend in those knees if you can. Straddle splits is the only thing that tempts my knees to lock out. And I don't know why, but it's really hard to get out of once they lock. Couple more deep breaths, y'all. All right, you guys, coming up just a little bit. Pressing into those hands. If you've got room in front of you, I want you to walk it out into a straddle plank. Hands are going to be underneath the shoulders, and then I want you to push back into the heels. So make sure you're not on your toes. So we're going to hold this straddle plank, and then push over the hands just a hair. We're going to take one hand. We're going to extend it straight out in front of us, just in front. If this is not feeling right to you, keep both hands on the floor. Switch. And bring it back. Walk those feet back. And walk those hands back. All right, guys. Next up, we're going to go transition into warriors on the other side. So we're going to turn that left foot towards the outside of our body, towards the front of our body. Anchor this back heel, turning the hips, and lifting up to warrior 1. You may have to adjust the feet because we didn't come out of a downward dog position to get here. So adjust your feet, Adjust your hips. Make sure that front foot is being covered up by that front knee. And we're going to find that flow from warrior 1 to balancing warrior or warrior 3. So find it when you're ready. Pushing off that front foot into that warrior 3, finding that balance, and then pushing back. We're aiming for about 4 or 5. So don't just go through it. Breathe and catch your body in that breath. When you've done your 4 or 5, open it up. Meet us in warrior 2. Good. Feel that breath. Deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Oh, Hallie joined us. Hey, Hallie. Okay. All right, sweeping that front hand forward just a little bit and then bringing it into a reverse warrior. We do that so that we can allow our body to sink deeper into the stance that we're in, activating Mula Bandha, root lock from the pelvic floor, extending that arm up upward a little more if you can. Whew. All right, back into that warrior 2. Straightening out that front leg, hinging at the waist, push the hips back, triangle pose. Hand can stop on that shin or pressing into the inner thigh, inner calf. Really focusing on flattening the front of that body, opening up the shoulder, opening up the armpit. As you breathe into this, see if you can sink down a little lower in your triangle. Making mental notes. Is this the side that allows you to go deeper? Or is this the side that makes you feel like you're a little bit more limited? Just make a mental note. That doesn't mean it's good or bad. It doesn't necessarily mean anything negative. It's just a note. We have a stronger side. We have a more flexible side. And then as you want, take one more deep breath in. We're going to take that hand at the top, rotate it around, place it where you feel like you can have good balance, and open it up to reverse triangle. Taking a deep breath in, coming back in, bringing it back down to the middle where we were a moment ago, walking the feet in just a bit, and then coming to a standing position. You can bring your hands to your thighs if that helps you. Coming up into kind of a sumo squat, opening up the hands to sun god. So hands are open, shoulder blades are pulling back, feet are pressing into the floor, and we're really sinking into that strong stance. So we're going to go ahead and go into garland pose. So we don't think we've done this in my Zoom classes yet, but we're bringing hands to prayer pose. We're going to walk the feet in just a little bit where they're basically just under our legs. And then we're going to sink down right under our knees. We're going to sink down to where you can place your elbows inside of your knees. You may have to put your elbows on top. That's okay. And then we're going to let the bottom, careful, let the bottom rotate down just a bit. Here's what it's not. See this, guys? If you can see the way that I'm sitting right here, this is not it. It's still an active pose. So you're really, like the legs, you can't really see with my black leggings, but, or gray, what are these? Maybe. It's more of like the bottom of your body is doing like this, like a Christmas garland on the mantle. Woo, hips, yes. I love it. All right, hands are going to be placing on the floor, lift up the hips, and then slowly rise. So we get some balance poses in, as my hips just feel like they're in a constant locked position. right now. All right, so we'll start out with tree pose for balance. Everyone's most basic balance pose because there's so many options for stability. Finding placement of the foot on the floor. We don't want to have our hips crooked. We want them to be completely level, right? Foot can be on the floor, can be on your calf, can be across the knee, can be inside the leg. Whatever feels right to you, just make sure you're not putting any pressure on the inside of that knee. Anahata Mudra, prayer pose at heart center. Feels so good, guys. So when we have balance in our lives, it doesn't mean that we have everything in equal amounts, right? Like that would be ridiculous. Like I don't want to put the same amount of time and energy into my work or my fitness as I do into my children or my marriage, right? So like it's all about making sure that everything is balanced in our lives in each capacity. So it doesn't mean evenly, right? So that's the way I think about balance poses too. Like we don't have to completely have everything symmetrical and even. This pose could be like this, the next leg could be way down low. It doesn't matter as long as we're finding that balance. Taking our arms all the way upward, inhale to an extended tree. As I'm doing this pose, the trees are really blowing outside. The storm is over, but the wind is still moving all the trees outside. So it's kind of fun to be doing tree pose while I can see trees out my kitchen windows. And like trees, we blow in the breeze too, right? So you can move a little bit. Let your body engage in finding that balance. Excellent. All right, release. Let's go ahead and go to the other side. So finding that balance pose. Again, this could be a lower point on the foot, right? It could be our leg. It could be lower. Listen to your body as it tells you, hey, that doesn't feel right today. Every day our body is different. It's just constantly different. Some days we're sore, some days we're not. Some days we have chronic fatigue we can't get rid of. Some days we have tons of energy. We're going to embrace the breath here. When you're ready, we're going to extend all the way up. Whenever you have to set your foot down or you wobble a little bit, that's okay. It's just growth. And then release. Good job, y'all. All right. So we're going to do Bird of Paradise pose today. If you have a band or a strap, this will be where you get it. If you don't have one, it's okay. We can modify this pose for every level, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to take this band and I'm going to put it back here behind me like this. And I'm going to bring my left foot up first. And I'm actually going to put my foot in that band, okay? So I've got my foot in the band. I find it easier starting there. You can always put your foot in the band first and bring it up, but then you have to like reach really crazy and grab it from behind and it's kind of awkward. The right leg is bending. I've actually got a bent knee here. And for Bird of Paradise, it's almost like a pigeon. So if you're like me and your hips are super tight, your first inclination is have this leg way up here like this. So if that's the case, I want you to drop the knee towards the floor. If you need to allow some slack in that band and cross the leg over the knee, if you're feeling like that's a better position for you, that's fine. But the goal is to bring it all the way up, strapped and ready to go. And are you guys ready for the actual balance part of this pose? Because this ain't it. We're reaching forward with the same hand as the standing leg, and we're hinging at the hips, and we're reaching towards the floor. Don't knock yourself out. Allow that bent leg to drop open. How do you like that stretch in that outer thigh and in that hip flexor? Feels amazing, right? Big hip stretch. And bringing it back and release. How'd you do? Oh, it makes me out of breath. Why does that make me out of breath? I think because I'm so afraid I'm gonna face plant on that one. All right, so on the opposite side, I like to take my strap first and bring it around. It just allows me to be able to grab that foot easier. So bring the foot up. Oh yeah, this leg's not gonna have it today. It's all right, guys. Every day is different. Every day is different. Whoo! I know yoga's not supposed to be so vocal, but good grief, I feel like howling. Find that nice, it's almost like a pigeon pose. So like when we do seated pigeon, the higher that foot into the crease of your thigh, the better. Mine's not getting anywhere close today. Yours might. And then walking that hand out in front of your body, bending the knee. Oh crap, this is it. This is all I got, guys. You guys go as far as you can.
Ask your lender or realtor or visit greatchoicetn.com today.
Opening that knee. Focuses on the joint of the hip socket, the hip, the gluteus medius and minimus on the outside of that thigh, that hip flexor. All the things. Ooh.
See it all online. Order in minutes.
I hope you guys are faring better on that one than me. You look amazing. Good job. I feel like I'm gonna need to walk with a cane after that pose. What the heck? Don't forget to give me your feedback on the bird of paradise. I threw that one in there from the archives of my brain. All right, guys. Let me turn this down. So loud on the advertisements. All right, guys, find some space on your mat. We're gonna go ahead and just have a seat all the way down onto our mat. Extending those legs straight out in front of us. All right, go ahead and move in the excess out of the way so that your sits bones can really press into the floor. And in our seated forward fold, we got a nice little bend in the legs. And then we're gonna lift the chest, and as we inhale real big, lift the chest. And as you exhale, we're gonna start sinking down. The belly button goes towards the thighs, the chest goes towards the knees, the chin goes towards the ankles. So we're extending the upper body out. There's still that sandwich in there that you didn't eat. Oh. All right, and breathing as we take that body down further and further into that forward fold. Couple more breaths here, going deeper and deeper. Maybe relaxing the head, taking out any wrinkles in your back of your neck. All right, slowly coming back into a seated position. Drawing that left foot in to the inside of your thigh. Keeping that other leg straight. Yeah, keeping your other leg straight. We're going to go to the outside of that straight leg. So actually crossing over, and it may for you, it may be way up here, okay? We'll make it a very small twist here, that's okay. If you can come down closer to your ankle or to your outside of your foot, that's where we're headed. And I want you to focus the breath on that side body, that side body that's kind of wrapping around towards the back a little bit. Get about 3 deep breaths here. That third breath should find you lower and deeper than the first one. All right, slowly coming up. We're going to transition into eye of the storm. So listen carefully. If your right foot is in front, your left leg is bent, your left hand is coming behind you, and your right hand is going to continue to spiral upward. So we're reaching, right leg is straight, left leg is bent. I'm just reaching up overhead. It's almost as if this move feels like it could continue into a spiral. See if you can go a little bit further than you are now. Looking back towards that back foot. And bring it around. I don't know about y'all, but every time I do that pose, I feel like I'm doing like a ballerina move, and I was never a ballerina, so it's like a fancy life, I guess. Your left leg is gonna be straight, your right leg is bent. Let's take it to the outside of that leg. Y'all tell me what this hip is so tight. So it may be very limited on this side, but that's all right. And we're gonna reach and extend down towards that leg. Pulling with that right arm so that you activate the side body on the right side. Get 2 or 3 good breaths here. On your final breath, you can get a little bit lower. And then we're going to rotate around. Right hand comes behind us. Left hand spirals around either form, pushing into that front leg, opening up that side and back body into a nice swirl. And release, coming all the way back around. Oh, yeah. Excellent job, guys. Let's check our time here real quick. Perfect. We're right on track. There's always so much I want to do. I literally feel like yoga should be 90 minutes every time. Like there's so much. We never really get to the stuff I want to, to all of the stuff I want to do. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and lie down on our bellies. Bring in the hands right there next to your chest. Elbows are pulled back. Go ahead and squeeze your glutes together like a bag of rocks, and then pressing up into either, it kind of looks like chaturanga, but it's not because our thighs are on the floor right here. So it's a baby cobra. If you want to keep your elbows down for Sphinx, you can. This is going to give you a little more stability. Otherwise, if you want to push up a little more, you can. The important thing is actually your glutes. You're squeezing your butt. If you're nursing some back issues and some things and you don't feel comfortable doing this pose, stay down there in Sphinx or go into a Superman pose, strengthening that lower back. Breath is here. If you want a little more sensation from this pose, you can always bring your toes towards your head. Making sure you're breathing. And then release, extending out all the way to the floor. One Superman here, lifting the toes and knees off the floor, lifting the rib cage off the floor, reaching for Superman. Breathe a couple of breaths here. Let's try for 3. And we're finished with that one. All right, pressing hands into the floor, push up, and now back into child's pose. This is our first official child's pose of the practice, which is unusual. So dropping your forehead to the floor, extending those hands out, wrapping that back around your thighs. All right, coming on all fours. Let's go ahead and bring our legs around into a seated position, and then begin to walk yourself down into a sideline or to a back lying position. So my kids suffer from seasonal allergies, and I can hear them sneezing upstairs. It's probably time to dust, to dust my upstairs. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and come all the way down into that sideline position. Knees are gonna come into the chest first, and rock that body into that little ball pose, little egg pose. So it's funny because child's pose is actually balasana, but I always think this pose should be called balasana because it's like a ball. It's a good thing I am not the one who invented Sanskrit. So we have really funny names for everything. Oh, stretching out that lower back so we can really feel it pressing into the floor. All right, y'all, we're gonna open up the arms wide. to brace ourselves. So we're going to take the knees over to one side, either side, taking our face towards the opposite direction. You want a little bit more, maybe you can extend that top leg, hold it with the hand. Feeling it a little bit more in the outer glute. And then we're going to bring it back to the middle, into that egg pose. Same thing on the other side. Rotating knees to the floor. Keeping your shoulders flat down. Looking over that opposite shoulder if you can. Extending that top leg if you can. I don't have room where my bench is. All right, and slowly, using that core, pulling it back into the middle. Peace and fingers come through those knees. Dead bug pose here. Opening the hips up. One last hip opener here. Pressing that tailbone down towards the floor and really sinking the weight of those legs down towards the side of your body. Feet are flexed here, heels are towards the ceiling. Couple of really big breaths here, and then bring those knees in as we continue those last couple breaths. All right, so we are officially going to transition into our Shavasana. So if there are any poses that we didn't do, or that if there's something in your body that's telling you, hey, maybe stretch this out real quick, go ahead and do that. Whatever you feel like needs stretching, go ahead and get that in real quick. Maybe there's a pose that you love that we didn't do. Just take about less than a minute and grab whatever you need as far as that pose, plus whatever comfort items that you need. So when I was teaching pop-up classes, I taught them at a photography studio, and I have a big bin full of yoga mats and yoga blocks and all of these things, and I only have one block here, but there's a pose called reclining butterfly that I love. And if you guys have blocks, or if you have throw pillows or something, it's seriously one of the best, most relaxing poses. And it's I'm just going to show you while y'all are doing your poses. Basically, it's the feet are in butterfly position. My feet are together here like this, and I'm or like when we do those frog pumps in Emily's class. So my knees are wide open here, and then I've got a block under each leg. You can't really see because of my camera angle, but there'll be a block under each knee and a block in my back. And so the block that's in your back actually allows you to really open the heart and the chest, and the arms can be open like this. This is a terrible angle, but you guys can kind of see it. Like, oh my gosh, it's the best ever. It's such a great pose, and it's so good for your back. So that's a really great one. If corpse pose maybe isn't your favorite, that's a really great pose to be in as far as reclining. Another really great pose is if you've got, for relaxation, if you've got a pillow, like a sleeping pillow, and you place it over your mat, over your block, and you literally wrap your whole self around it. Like, it's kind of like an updated child's pose, and you're literally like like this. You guys, it's so good. It's so good. It's just like you're just kind of hugging something, and you're just relaxed into it. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through our final relaxation. So start getting down into a corpse pose. Shavasana pose is what it is. Or whatever pose feels good for you. I'm going to sit on my block so that I can keep an eye on our time and such. So for this final relaxation, I want you guys to just sink your body into the floor like you're trying to make sure that all of your body parts are touching the floor. Noticing how your body feels on the mat. Hopefully you feel a combination of rejuvenated and energized with feeling relaxed and feeling refueled. And I want your whole body to take a breath. So inhaling and allowing all of your throat, your chest, your lungs, your belly, your hips, and your feet to feel that breath, and then exhale as deeply as you can. So finding that breath, maybe you need to count for the first few breaths just to make sure you're slowing things down. Really deep breath here. I am telling you what, this app. Keep breathing, guys. So for the next few minutes, I want you guys to just breathe. And I'll bring us to a finish. When you hear my chimes, that's your sign to roll over into another position. So you guys just take a few minutes to go back to that intention statement from the beginning of class. Check in with your body, check in with your breath. And we will finish up in just a few moments. Great, girls. Just begin to wiggle those fingers, those toes. Maybe rocking the knees from side to side or rolling into a side lying position. Taking your time, of course, there's no rush. But finding yourself coming up into that standing position when you're ready. I'm not standing position, seated position. Goodness. Just got distracted by a bruise I saw on my leg and was remembering where I got it. Taking a deep breath in. Hands come all the way up and fingers come down towards the chest, stopping at heart center. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. You are strong, you are beautiful and capable, you are chosen. You have a voice. And I just want you guys to know that you are valuable. And I really appreciate y'all being here. Thank you guys so much for coming. Namaste.